Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her hands against the cold metal wall of the research ship. Her heart was beating fast. After 10 years of work, today was the day. Today, humans would travel faster than light for the first time. Are all systems ready? She asked her team. Around her, 20 scientists and engineers worked at their stations. The ship Prometheus was not big, but it held the most important machine humans had ever built. Quantum drive is online, called out Dr. Kim from his station. All readings are normal. Navigation systems ready, said Captain Torres. He was a military man, but he understood how important this moment was. We are far from Earth. No other ships around us. Elena looked at the main screen. It showed empty space filled with distant stars. They were at the edge of human space, far from any planets or space stations. This was the safest place to test their new drive. The quantum tunneling drive was Elena's life work. Other scientists said it could not be done. They said faster than light travel was impossible without help from alien technology. But Elena believed humans could find their own way. Begin the countdown, Elena said. Her voice was steady, but inside she felt excited and scared. 10 seconds to jump, announced the ship's computer. 9.8.7. Elena closed her eyes. Everything they had worked for came down to this moment. 3.2.1. Jump. The world changed. Elena felt like she was being pulled apart and put back together in the same second. Colors that had no names flashed before her eyes. Then, suddenly, everything was normal again. Jump complete, said the computer. We have traveled 4.2 light years in 3.7 seconds. The team cheered. They had done it. Humans could now travel between stars in seconds instead of years. Elena opened her eyes and looked at the main screen. The stars looked different. They were in a new place, far from home. Where are we exactly? Elena asked. Dr. Kim checked his instruments. We are in the Alpha Centauri system, just like we planned. The jump worked perfectly. Captain Torres was smiling, but then his face changed. Wait, I'm getting something on sensors. There's a ship. Out there. Everyone became quiet. They were supposed to be alone in this empty part of space. What kind of ship? Elena asked. It's big, Torres said, looking worried. Much bigger than ours, and it's moving toward us very fast. On the main screen, a shape appeared. It was not like any human ship. The alien vessel was long and smooth, with strange curves and no sharp edges. Lights blinked along its surface in patterns Elena had never seen. They're sending us a message, said Dr. Park, the communications expert. But it's in a language I don't understand. Elena's excitement turned to fear. Humans had never met aliens before. They always wondered if other intelligent life existed, but now they knew the answer. Can you send a reply? Elena asked. I can try basic math and pictures, Dr. Park said. Universal concepts that any smart species should understand. Before Dr. Park could send anything, the alien ship moved closer. It was huge, at least 10 times bigger than the Prometheus. Strange beams of light came from the alien ship and surrounded the human vessel. They're scanning us, Torres said. Our shields can't stop it. Elena felt helpless. Their great achievement had led them into danger. She wished they had been more careful about where they tested the drive. The alien ship's message changed. This time, Dr. Park looked surprised. I can understand parts of it, he said. They're using simple pictures and numbers. They want to know how we got here. What should we tell them? Asked Dr. Kim. Elena thought quickly. Tell them we are explorers. From Earth, we come in peace. Dr. Park sent the message. The reply came back quickly, and this time the aliens used more complex images. "They're asking about our ship," Dr. Park said. "They want to know what kind of drive we used to get here." Elena felt worried. Why were the aliens so interested in their drive? "Tell them we created our own faster-than-light system." When Dr. Park sent this message, something strange happened. The alien ship stopped moving. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then dozens of new messages flooded their communication system. "They seem shocked," Dr. Park said. "I'm getting words like impossible and forbiddens, and something about a council." Captain Torres checked his weapon systems, but Elena stopped him. "No, we don't want to start a fight. We need to learn more about these aliens." The alien ship sent another message. This time, the meaning was clear, even though the words were strange. The aliens wanted the humans to come aboard their ship. "That sounds like a trap," Torres said. Elena knew he was right, but she also knew they had no choice. The alien ship was much more powerful than theirs. If the aliens wanted to hurt them, they could do it easily. "I'll go," Elena said. "If something happens to me, you must get back to Earth. Tell them what we learned here." "I'm going with you," Torres said. "You'll need protection." Elena picked 2 more team members to come with her. Before they left, she made sure Dr. Kim understood his orders. "If we don't come back in 6 hours, jump back to Earth immediately," she said. "Send all our data to the government and the science community. The world needs to know that our drive works and that we're not alone in the universe." Dr. Kim nodded. "What about the aliens? What if they follow us to Earth?" Elena looked at the huge alien ship on their screen. "Then humanity will have to be ready for whatever comes next." The alien ship opened a bay door. A tunnel of light connected the 2 ships, allowing the humans to walk across empty space safely. Elena took a deep breath and stepped into the light. The inside of the alien ship was unlike anything Elena had ever seen. The walls seemed to be alive, with patterns of light moving through them. The air smelled different, like flowers that didn't exist on Earth. 3 aliens waited for them. They were tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large eyes. They wore clothes that looked like they were made of metal and cloth, woven together. One of the aliens stepped forward. When it spoke, Elena was surprised to hear words she could understand. "I am Commander Zefka of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. "We have been watching your species for many years. We thought you were primitive. We were wrong." Elena found her voice. "I am Dr. Elena Vasquez. We come from Earth. We mean no harm to your people." Commander Zefka made a sound that might have been laughter, but it didn't sound happy. "Harm? You have already caused more harm than you know. Your impossible journey has broken laws that have existed for 10,000 years. The Galactic Council will not be pleased." Elena didn't understand. "What laws? We didn't know about any council." "That is the problem," Zefka said. "You were supposed to wait. All young species must wait until the council decides they are ready for the stars. But you humans, ... you found your own way. That should not be possible." Elena felt a mix of pride and fear. Humans had done something amazing, but it seemed they had also made powerful enemies. What happens now? She asked Commander Zefkaz. Large eyes studied her carefully. "Now, Dr. Vasquez, everything changes. For your species, for the galaxy, and for the ancient order that has kept peace among the stars for thousands of years." Elena realized that their successful test had done more than prove human ingenuity. It had shaken the foundation of galactic civilization itself. As the alien ship began to move, carrying her away from the Prometheus, she could only hope that her team would make it back to Earth with their precious data. The age of human isolation was over. The age of consequences was about to begin. The great space station Nexus Prime floated in the dark between stars. It was bigger than most moons, with towers and rings that spun slowly in the emptiness. For 10,000 years, it had been the center of galactic government. Today, it buzzed. With fear and anger, in the main council chamber, representatives from dozens of worlds sat around a circular table that seemed to float in midair. Each being looked different. Some had scales, others had fur. Some breathed air, others needed special suits. But they all shared one thing. They were afraid. High Counselor Vel Thara called the emergency meeting to order. She was tall and elegant, with silver skin that glowed softly in the chamber's light. Her people, the Ethereals, had founded the Galactic Council long ago. "We face a crisis," Vel Thara said. Her voice was calm, but everyone could hear the worry in it. "The human species has achieved faster-than-light travel without our permission or guidance." A creature that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles angrily. "Impossible. No species can develop FTL technology on their own. The mathematics are too complex." "I have seen the reports," said another counselor, this one covered in blue fur. "Commander Zif Ka captured their ship. The humans used something called quantum tunneling. It's completely different from our approved FTL methods." The chamber, filled with worried sounds. Clicks, growls, musical tones, and electronic beeps all mixed together as the counselors talked among themselves. Vel Thara raised her hand for silence. "The Zephyrian commander has sent us detailed scans of the human vessel. Their technology is primitive in many ways, but their FTL drive is unique." She touched a control, and images appeared above the table. The counselors saw pictures of the human ship and its strange drive system. "They call it a quantum tunneling drive," Vel Thara continued. "Instead of folding space like our drives do, they seem to punch holes through the fabric of reality itself." An old reptilian being with golden scales spoke up. "High Counselor, remind us why this matters." "So the humans found a new way to travel. Why should we care?" The chamber became very quiet. Vel Thara looked around at all the faces watching her. Some were confused, others were starting to understand. "Counselor Sis Ezrath asks a good question," she said. "Let me explain our situation clearly." She touched another control, and the images changed. Now they showed a map of the galaxy with different colored regions. "For 10,000 years, we have controlled which species can travel between stars. We give FTL technology only to races that prove they are ready, races that follow our laws and accept our guidance." The blue-furred counselor nodded. "This system has brought peace to the galaxy. Young species stay in their home systems until they are mature enough to join us." "Yes," Vel Thara said. "But what happens when a species refuses to wait? What happens when they find their own path to the stars?" Now the counselors were starting to look scared. The insect-like being clicked nervously. "Other young species will ask questions," it said. "They will wonder why they must wait when the humans did not." "Exactly," Vel Thara said. "We have 17 species currently waiting for approval to receive FTL technology. Some have been waiting for over 200 years. What will they do when they learn that approval is not actually necessary?" The old reptilian counselor hissed. "They will rebel. They will try to develop their own FTL systems. And some might succeed," added another voice. "If primitive humans can do it, others might too." Vel Thara nodded sadly. "Our entire system of control depends on young species believing they need our help to reach the stars. The humans have proven that belief is false." A new voice spoke from the shadows at the edge of the chamber. It was ancient and cold, speaking in the old language that only the eldest races remembered. "The truth is worse than you know." All heads turned toward the voice. From the darkness stepped a figure that made even the High Counselor bow her head in respect. It was ancient Mor Thul, one of the first Ethereals. He was so old that his silver skin had turned almost black, and his eyes glowed like dying stars. Ancient One, Belthara said formally, you honor us with your presence. Do not speak of honor, Morthul said. His voice sounded like wind through dead leaves. I come because you young fools do not understand what you have done. The chamber was completely silent now. Even the breathing sounds stopped. Tell us, Ancient One, Belthara said. What have we done? Morthul moved to the center of the chamber. Where he walked, frost formed on the floor. You have built this council on lies, he said. For 10,000 years, we have told young species that they are not ready for the stars. We have said they lack the wisdom and technology to travel safely between worlds. But that's true, protested the blue-furred counselor. Look at the wars that happened before the council. Species destroying each other, planets burned, entire races extinct. Yes, Morthul said. But the real reason we control FTL technology has nothing to do with wisdom or readiness. He gestured and knew. Images appeared above the table. These were very old, showing battles between ships and the destruction of worlds. Before the council, there were dozens of advanced species. We ethereals were just one among many. But we were the first to understand something important. Whoever controls faster-than-light travel controls the galaxy. The counselors looked confused. Belthara spoke carefully. Ancient One, are you saying we created the council to maintain our power? Not just maintain it, Morthul said, to increase it. Every species that receives our FTL technology becomes dependent on us. They must follow our laws, trade with our approved partners, and accept our guidance in all matters. The insect-like being clicked in understanding. We are not keeping peace. We are preventing competition. Now you begin to see, Morthul said. The humans have done more than invent a new type of FTL drive. They have shown the galaxy that our monopoly can be broken. A young counselor from a newer species spoke up. But surely we can negotiate with the humans. We can offer them membership in the council, share our knowledge with them. Morthul's laugh was like ice breaking. Foolish child. The humans will never accept our system because they have already proven they don't need it. And once other species learn this ... revolution, whispered Belthara. Species will rebel against our control. Worse, Morthul said. They will succeed. And when they do, the ethereal dominance that has lasted 10,000 years will end. The chamber erupted in frightened voices. Some counselors demanded immediate action against the humans. Others suggested trying to make deals. A few talked about revealing the truth and reforming the system. Morthul raised his hand, and silence fell again. There is only one solution, he said. The human experiment must be ended before it spreads. Their technology must be destroyed, their scientists eliminated, and their world quarantined. You're talking about genocide, said the blue-furred counselor, sounding shocked. I am talking about survival, Morthul replied. The survival of our way of life, our power, and our species' dominant position in the galaxy. Belthara looked around the chamber. She could see the fear in every face. These beings had lived their entire lives believing they were peacekeepers and wise guides. Now they were being told they were actually oppressors. What if we offered the humans a place? On the council? She suggested. Made them partners instead of enemies? Look at their behavior, Morthul said. They developed FTL technology in secret. They tested it without asking permission. They refused to surrender their ship when confronted by Zephyrian forces. These humans do not respect authority. They will never be willing partners. He was right, and everyone knew it. The human actions showed a species that thought for itself and refused to be controlled. What are you proposing? Asked the old reptilian counselor. Total war, Morthul said simply. We mobilize the full strength of the Council fleets. We surround human space and demand they surrender their FTL technology. If they refuse, we destroy every human ship, every human station, and if necessary, every human world. The chamber was quiet, except for the sound of frightened breathing. The other young species will see what happens to those who defy us, Morthul continued. They will understand that the old ways are the only ways. And if the humans fight back? Asked the counselor. With what? Morthul said. They have one type of ship and a few dozen worlds. We have thousands of species, millions of ships, and the combined knowledge of 10,000 years. The humans cannot win. Velthara knew the Ancient One was right about the military situation. But she also knew that if they destroyed the humans, they would become the very thing they claimed to protect the galaxy from, conquerors who destroyed entire species. I call for a vote, she said reluctantly. All in favor of mobilizing Council forces against the human species? One by one, hands, claws, tentacles, and other appendages rose around the chamber. Fear won over conscience. Only 3 counselors voted against the motion. The motion passes, Velthara announced. We are now at war with humanity. As the counselors filed out to prepare their fleets, Morthul remained behind. He stood in the empty chamber, looking at the images of human technology that still floated above the table. You clever little apes, he whispered. You have no idea what you have started. Far away, in human space, Dr. Elena Vasquez was still a prisoner on the Zephyrian ship. She didn't know that the most powerful beings in this... President Sarah Martinez stood in the underground command center beneath the capital city. Around her, generals, scientists, and world leaders worked frantically at their stations. 3 days had passed since the Prometheus returned to Earth. With shocking news, humans were not alone in the universe, and they had made enemies of something called the Galactic Council. Give me the latest report, President Martinez said to General Harrison, her military advisor. The production lines are working around the clock, Harrison replied. We now have 47 ships equipped with quantum tunneling drives. More are being completed every hour. Dr. Kim, who had returned with the Prometheus, looked up from his workstation. Madam President, we've also established contact with Dr. Vasquez. She's still being held by the Zephyrians, but she managed to send us technical data about their ship designs and weapons. President Martinez felt both relieved and worried. Elena was alive, but she was still a prisoner. And the information she had sent painted a grim picture of humanity's situation. What did she tell us about these aliens? The president asked. Dr. Kim activated a holographic display. Images of alien ships and stations appeared in the air above them. The Galactic Council controls thousands of species across the galaxy. He said, they've been in power for 10,000 years. They control who gets faster than light travel and who doesn't. And they're angry because we didn't ask permission, added Admiral Sarah Chun, who had been chosen to lead humanity's first. Space Fleet. President Martinez studied the alien ship designs. They were beautiful, but clearly much more advanced than human technology. What are our chances in a fight? She asked. Admiral Chun was honest. Against their individual ships? We might hold our own. Our quantum drives give us better mobility than their systems. But if they bring their full fleet against us... She didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. Humanity was badly outnumbered. However, Dr. Kim said, we do have one major advantage. Dr. Vasquez discovered that their FTL technology uses predictable jump points. They can only arrive at specific locations in each star system. Our drives can appear anywhere. President Martinez nodded. It wasn't much, but it was something. Madam President, said her communication advisor, we're receiving a transmission from deep space. It's on the same frequency the aliens used before. Put it through, the president ordered. The holographic display changed. Now it showed the image of a tall, elegant being with silver skin that seemed to glow. When it spoke, its voice was translated into perfect English. I am High Counselor Vel Thara of the Galactic Council. I am speaking to the leaders of the species called humans. President Martinez stepped forward. I am President Martinez, representing the people of Earth and all human colonies. We are listening. Your species has violated ancient laws by developing unauthorized faster-than-light technology, Vel Thara said. This cannot be allowed to continue. We didn't know about your laws, President Martinez replied. We were exploring our own solar system when we achieved this breakthrough. We meant no harm to anyone. Vel Thara's expression didn't change. Intent is irrelevant. The result is the same. Your actions threaten the stability of galactic civilization. Admiral Chun moved closer to the president. She whispered, This sounds like a setup for an ultimatum. She was right. Vel Thara continued speaking. The Galactic Council offers humanity one chance to avoid conflict. You will surrender all quantum tunneling drives and the technology to build them. Your scientists will be relocated to Council worlds where they can be properly supervised. In return, we will consider allowing your species to join the galactic community in approximately 500 years. The command center became very quiet. Everyone was waiting for the president's response. President Martinez looked around at her advisors. She saw anger, fear, and determination in their faces. These people had worked their entire lives to push humanity toward the stars. Now aliens were telling them to give up their dreams and wait 5 centuries for permission to continue. Hi, Counselor, President Martinez said, we appreciate your offer, but we must decline. Vel Thara looked surprised. You refuse? Do you understand what you are choosing? We understand perfectly, the president replied. You're asking us to give up our freedom and our future. You want us to surrender the greatest achievement in human history and trust that you'll treat us fairly 500 years from now. The Council has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years, Vel Thara said. We know how to guide young species toward wisdom and maturity. Admiral Chun stepped forward. With respect, High Counselor, we've had a chance to study your system. You don't guide species toward maturity. You keep them dependent on your technology and your approval. Vel Thara's glowing skin seemed to dim slightly. You do not understand the complexities of galactic civilization. Maybe not, President Martinez said, but we understand freedom. And we understand that no one has the right to tell an entire species that they must wait centuries for permission to explore the universe. Then you choose war, Vel Thara said. Her voice was sad but firm. No, President Martinez replied. You are choosing war. We choose to defend ourselves and our right to reach for the stars. The transmission ended. Vel Thara's image disappeared, leaving the humans alone with their decision. Well, General Harrison said after a moment, that could have gone better. Despite the serious situation, a few people chuckled. President Martinez smiled grimly. What's our status on evacuation plans? She asked. All non-essential personnel are being moved away from Earth and the major colonies, General Harrison reported. We're establishing hidden bases in asteroid fields and on small moons. If Earth falls, humanity will survive. And our new colonies? Dr. Kim answered this question. The colonization ships are almost ready. We've selected 12 star systems that our probes indicate are uninhabited. Each ship carries 10,000 people and everything needed to start a new civilization. This was part of humanity's desperate plan. If the Galactic Council wanted war, humans would make sure the war couldn't be won by simply destroying Earth. New human worlds would spring up across the galaxy, each one equipped with quantum tunneling technology. Admiral Chun, President Martinez, said, "What's the status of our fleet?" 63 ships now operational, Chun reported. They're not big, but they're fast and heavily armed. More importantly, each one carries a full technical database. Even if most of our fleet is destroyed, the survivors can rebuild. President Martinez walked to the main display, which showed a map of human space. 12 star systems, 47 planets, and about 50 billion people. It seemed so small compared to the vast galactic civilization they now faced. "Have we heard anything more from Dr. Vasquez?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," Dr. Kim said. She managed to send another message. She says the aliens are mobilizing a huge fleet, hundreds of ships from dozens of different species. But she also said something interesting. What? She's detected signs that not all council species are happy about this war. Some of the younger races seem to be questioning why they need council permission for FTL travel. This was the first good news they'd heard. If the council wasn't united, maybe humanity had a chance. "How long before their fleet arrives?" Admiral Chun asked. "Dr. Vasquez estimates 3 weeks," Dr. Kim replied. "Their ships are faster than ours over long distances, but they have to gather forces from across the galaxy." President Martinez made her decision. 3 weeks to prepare for the fight of our lives. General Harrison, I want every available ship equipped with quantum drives. Dr. Kim, I want our colonization vessels launched immediately. Admiral Chun, I want our fleet ready for hit-and-run tactics. We can't win a straight fight, but maybe we can make this war so expensive that the council decides we're not worth the trouble. And if we can't? Asked her chief advisor. President Martinez looked at the faces around her. These people represented the best of humanity: courage, intelligence, and an unwillingness to give up in the face of impossible odds. Then we make sure the galaxy remembers us, she said. We show them that humans don't surrender, even when facing impossible odds. Maybe that will inspire other species to stand up for their own freedom. Over the next 3 weeks, human space became a hive of activity. Factories worked day and night, building ships and weapons. Scientists shared their knowledge freely, making sure that quantum tunneling technology would survive even if Earth didn't. Families said goodbye as colonists launched toward distant stars. Dr. Elena Vasquez, still a prisoner on the Zephyrian ship, watched the preparations through hidden sensors. She was proud of her species' response, but terrified of what was coming. On Earth, President Martinez gave her final speech to humanity. My fellow humans, she said, speaking to 50 billion. People across dozens of worlds, we face the greatest challenge in our species' history. A galactic empire demands that we surrender our freedom and our future. They want us to accept that we are not ready for the stars. She paused, looking directly into the camera. But we know better. We know that freedom is not something to be earned by waiting. It is something to be claimed by those brave enough to reach for it. Our ancestors left their caves to explore the world. They built ships to cross the oceans. They built rockets to reach the moon and planets. Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in her small prison cell aboard the Zephyrian ship, but she wasn't alone anymore. Across from her sat a being she had never expected to meet, a rebel. The alien looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard, with bright green feathers and intelligent golden eyes. It called itself Krixna, and it was a member of the Kepler Coalition, one of the younger species in the Galactic Council. Your people have caused quite a stir, Krixna said in careful English. Half. The Council wants to destroy you immediately. The other half wants to study your technology first. Alana studied her unexpected visitor. And which half do you belong to? Krixna made a sound that might have been laughter. Neither. My people belong to a third group that most of the Council doesn't know exists. We want your technology for ourselves." This was not what Elena had expected. "You want to steal our quantum drive?" "Not steal," Krixna corrected. "Learn, share, use it to free ourselves from the Council's control." Elena felt her heart beat faster. "You're rebels?" "We prefer the term liberation movement," Krixna said. "There are dozens of species who are tired of waiting for the Council's permission to explore the galaxy. Your success has shown us that we don't need to wait." Elena looked around the cell, wondering if this was some kind of trick. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because, Dr. Vasquez, your species is about to face the full might of the Council fleets. You will lose that fight. But if you share your technology with us before that happens, your defeat might still lead to victory." Elena was quiet for a long moment. She thought about President Martinez and Admiral Chun, preparing Earth's defenses against impossible odds. She thought about the colonization ships flying toward distant stars, carrying humanity's hope for survival. "What exactly are you proposing?" She asked. Krixna leaned closer. "Help us build quantum tunneling drives. In return, we'll help your people survive the coming war. We can't prevent the Council from attacking you, but we can make sure you're not fighting alone." Before Elena could respond, the cell door opened. Commander Zefka entered, his tall figure filling the doorway. "Counselor Krixna," he said coldly, "you were not authorized to speak with the prisoner." Krixna stood up, showing no fear. "I have every right to interview prisoners taken in my sector of space, Commander." Elena watched the tension between the two aliens. It was clear that not. Everyone in the Council agreed with each other. "The prisoner is under Zephyrian custody," Zefka said. "Any interviews must be approved by my superiors." "Then perhaps," Krixna said smoothly, "you should contact your superiors. I believe they will be very interested in what the human has told me about her species' plans for galactic expansion." It was a lie, but Elena recognized a rescue attempt when she saw one. She decided to play along. "Yes," she said, "my government has many contingency plans, plans that the Council should know about." Commander Zefka looked between Elena and Krixna suspiciously. "What plans?" Elena thought quickly. "I can only discuss them with a full Council representative, someone with the authority to negotiate." This put Zefka in a difficult position. If Elena really had important information, he needed to report. But he didn't want to give up his valuable prisoner. "I will contact High Command," he said finally. "In the meantime, the prisoner remains in my custody." After Zefka left, Krixna made a gesture that Elena somehow understood meant, "Be ready." Meanwhile, in human space, the war had begun. Admiral Chun watched from the bridge of her flagship as Council ships emerged from their jump points near the outer planets of the Sol system. There were more than she had expected. "Count?" she asked her tactical officer. 237. "Ships, Admiral. Multiple species. They're arranging themselves in standard Council battle formation." Chun nodded. The Council clearly expected this to be a quick fight. They were about to learn otherwise. "All ships," she broadcast to her fleet, "remember the plan. Hit and run. Never engage their main force directly. Make them chase us." The first human ship to engage was the destroyer Defiance. It appeared suddenly behind a group of alien cruisers, fired a full spread of missiles, then vanished into quantum space before the enemy could respond. 3 alien ships were damaged. The aliens were confused and angry. "They're trying to surround." "The system," Chun's tactical officer reported. "Standard containment pattern. Perfect," Chun said. "Let them waste time setting up their blockade. Fire Team Alpha, hit their supply ships. Fire Team Beta, attack their communications relay. Make them think we're everywhere at once." The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and vanished before the enemy could fight back. The aliens' superior firepower was useless if they couldn't hit their targets. But Admiral Chun knew this was just the beginning. The real war would be won or lost in the hidden places of the galaxy, where other species decided whether to support the Council or joined humanity's rebellion. On a small moon in the Rigel system, Dr. Kim worked frantically in a secret laboratory. Around him, engineers from 3 different species studied quantum drive blueprints that Elena Vasquez had managed to transmit before her capture. The principle is simple, Dr. Kim explained to his mixed audience. Instead of folding space, we create a temporary tunnel through it. The energy requirements are much lower than traditional FTL drives. A spider-like being called Vecmore raised one of its 8 arms. Our mathematics indicate this should be impossible. The quantum equations don't balance. That's because you've been using council mathematics, said another voice. Everyone turned to see Krixna enter the laboratory. The bird-like alien looked tired but excited. I've just returned from the Zephyrian ship, Krixna announced. Dr. Vasquez has agreed to help us. But we need to move quickly. The council is planning to execute her as soon as they finish studying her ship. Dr. Kim felt cold fear. Elena was his friend and colleague. He couldn't let her die. What do you need us to do? He asked. First, we need to build working quantum drives for our ships, Krixna said. Second, we need to rescue Dr. Vasquez before the council kills her. Third, we need to coordinate our rebellion with your people's military actions. It sounded impossible, but Dr. Kim had learned not to use that word around humans. How many species are part of your rebellion? He asked. 17 so far, Krixna replied. Not all of them are ready to fight openly, but they're willing to share intelligence and provide supplies. More importantly, we represent over 200 billion beings who are tired of council control. Dr. Kim realized the scale of what was happening. This wasn't just a war between humanity and the Galactic Council. It was a galactic civil war, with humanity as the spark that started the fire. Over the next few weeks, the secret alliance grew stronger. Human engineers worked with alien scientists to adapt quantum tunneling technology to different ship designs. Rebel species provided safe harbors for human colonization ships. Intelligence flowed back and forth, allowing both sides to stay ahead of Council military actions. The Council's response was predictable and brutal. They increased patrols in all systems containing rebel species. They demanded absolute loyalty from their member civilizations. They began treating any questioning of Council policy as treason. This only made more species join the rebellion. Dr. Elena Vasquez, still a prisoner, but now working with her captors, sent a message to Earth that would change everything. The Council is not as united as they pretend, her message said. Ancient Morthul and the oldest ethereals want to destroy all rebel species completely. But many younger Council members are horrified by this plan. Some are even beginning to question whether the Council system is just. She paused and added the most important part. There's going to be a split in the Council. When it happens, we need to be ready to offer an alternative. Not just human technology, but a new way of organizing galactic civilization, one based on cooperation instead of control. President Martinez read this message in her command bunker as Council ships continued their assault on human space. Despite the desperate military situation, she felt hope growing in her chest. General Harrison, she said, I want you to send a message to all rebel species. Tell them that when this war is over, humanity proposes creating a new galactic alliance, one where every species has an equal voice and no one needs permission to explore the stars. Ma'am, Harrison said carefully, we're not exactly winning this war. Maybe we shouldn't make promises about what happens after. President Martinez smiled, and Harrison was reminded why she had been elected leader of the human government. "General," she said, "we're not just fighting for humanity's survival. We're fighting for the principle that no species should be told it's not ready for freedom. That's a fight worth having, even if we lose." But as reports came in from across the galaxy, it was becoming clear that humanity might not lose after all. Rebel species were attacking Council installations. Traditional Council allies were questioning their loyalty. And most importantly, the Council's own member species were beginning to demand answers about why they needed permission to build better ships or explore new territories. The war that the Council thought would be a quick demonstration of power was turning into something much more dangerous, a revolution that questioned the very foundation of their 10,000-year reign. The space around Nexus Prime had never seen so many ships. Thousands of vessels filled the darkness, but they were not all on the same side. The great space station that had been the center of galactic government for 10,000 years was now surrounded by two fleets preparing for the final battle of the war. Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Elena Vasquez, named after the brave scientist who had started this revolution. Around her, the combined fleet of the Free Species Alliance waited for her orders. "Status report," she said calmly. 412 ships ready for battle," her tactical officer reported. "Human vessels, Kepler Coalition fighters hive, world defenders, and ships from 23 other species." Chun nodded. It was smaller than the Council fleet, but these ships carried something the enemy lacked: the determination of beings fighting for their freedom. "Any word from the rescue mission?" she asked. "Captain Torres reports success," came the reply. "Dr. Vasquez is free and safely aboard the Prometheus." Chun smiled. Elena was alive and safe. That was something to fight for. On the other side of the battle zone, High Counselor Vel Thara looked out at the rebel fleet with a mixture of anger and sadness. In the months since the war began, 17 Council species had openly joined the rebellion. Many others were questioning their loyalty. "Ancient, Morthul demands to speak with you," her aide reported. V.E. Lothara sighed. The ancient ethereal had become increasingly angry as the war continued. His solution to every problem was more violence, more destruction. Morthul's image appeared on the bridge's main screen. His ancient face was twisted with rage. "This has gone on long enough," he said. "Order the fleet to destroy every rebel ship. Show the galaxy what happens to those who defy us." "Ancient One," Valthara said carefully, "we are already losing support among our own members. If we massacre the rebels, more species will turn against us. Then we destroy them too." Morthul shouted. "Better to rule a smaller galaxy than to lose control completely." Valthara looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. She saw doubt in their eyes. Even her own people were beginning to question whether this war was right. "I will not order the destruction of entire species," she said firmly. "There must be another way." Morthul's eyes glowed with cold fire. "Then you are weak. Step aside and let others do what must be done." The transmission ended, and Velthara realized that the Council was splitting apart. The oldest and most conservative members wanted to destroy anyone who challenged them. But many younger species were beginning to see that the rebels had a point. Dr. Elena Vasquez was finally free, standing on the bridge of her old ship with Captain Torres and the crew who had rescued her. She looked out at the massive battle fleets and felt both pride and fear. "Are we really going to fight all of them?" she asked Torres. "If we have to," he replied. "But maybe we won't have to." Elena understood what he meant. Intelligence reports suggested that the Council fleet was not united. Many ships were there only because their governments had ordered them to fight. The crews themselves were not sure this war was right. Incoming transmission. announced the communications officer. It's Admiral Chun. Chun's image appeared on the screen. She looked tired but determined. Elena, she said, we need you to make a broadcast, not to our fleet, but to theirs. Tell them what you learned during your captivity. Help them understand what this war is really about. Elena nodded. This was her chance to end the fighting without more bloodshed. A few minutes later, her voice was being transmitted to every ship in both fleets. My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez, she began. 6 months ago, I was part of a team that achieved humanity's first faster-than-light jump. We thought we were exploring empty space. Instead, we discovered that we live in a galaxy full of intelligent life. She paused, looking at the camera that would carry her words to thousands of different species. I spent months as a prisoner of the Galactic Council. During that time, I learned the truth about your government. For 10,000 years, you have been told that the Council exists to maintain peace and guide young species toward wisdom. But that is not the whole truth. On Council ships throughout the fleet, crews gathered around their communication screens. Many had never heard a human speak before. The Council does not guide species toward maturity, Elena continued. It keeps them dependent. It prevents them from developing their own technology, exploring their own paths, and making their own choices about their future. Her voice grew stronger. The Council's leaders told me that my species was too primitive to travel between stars. They said we lacked the wisdom to join galactic civilization. But we proved them wrong. We found our own path to the stars, and it worked better than theirs. She gestured toward the human ships. Look at our vessels. They are small and simple, compared to yours. But they can appear anywhere in space without warning. They don't need your jump points or your navigation systems. We built them ourselves, using our own knowledge and our own creativity. On the Council flagship, Vel Farah watched the broadcast with growing unease. Elena's words were having an effect. On the fleet, ships were moving out of formation, their crews talking among themselves. The question you must ask yourselves, Elena said, is not whether humans deserve to travel between stars. The question is whether any species should need permission to explore the universe. She looked directly into the camera. Your own species were once young and curious, just like mine. You wanted to see what was beyond your home worlds. You built ships and reached for distant stars. But somewhere along the way, you accepted that other species should not have the same freedom you claimed for yourselves. The effect on the Council fleet was immediate. Ships began breaking formation. Some turned away from the battle zone entirely. Others simply stopped advancing. Ancient Morthul's voice rang out across the Council command frequency. Ignore the human propaganda. All ships attack immediately. Destroy the rebels. But instead of obeying, many Council ships began transmitting their own messages. This is Captain Hesrau of the Centaurian vessel Starseeker, came one voice. My crew refuses to fire on beings who only want the same freedom we enjoy. Delphinian. Ship Wave Rider standing down, came another. We did not join the Council to prevent other species from reaching the stars. Within minutes, nearly half the Council fleet had refused orders to attack. Vel Farah realized that the war was over, even if the fighting hadn't stopped. But Morthul was not finished. The ancient ethereal had prepared for this possibility. Deep within Nexus Prime, he activated weapons that had been hidden for thousands of years. Massive energy beams lanced out from the space station, striking ships from both fleets. The beams could disable any vessel's FTL drive, stranding it in normal space. Attention all ships. Morthul's voice boomed across space. You will surrender to ethereal authority, or you will be destroyed. But he had made a crucial mistake. The beams were designed to work on traditional FTL drives. They had no effect on quantum tunneling systems. Admiral. Chun smiled as her human ships continued to move freely while the alien vessels were trapped. All human ships, she broadcast, protect the disabled vessels. Show the galaxy that we fight to free people, not to conquer them. The human fleet spread out, using their quantum drives to shield the paralyzed alien ships from Nexus Prime's weapons. It was a gesture that would be remembered for generations. Dr. Vasquez made one final broadcast. Ancient Morthul, she said, your weapons prove our point. The Council rules through fear and force, not wisdom and cooperation. But your time is ending. She gestured toward the mixed fleet of human and alien ships working together to protect each other. Look around you. Dozens of species are choosing cooperation over control. They are choosing freedom over safety. They are choosing to trust each other rather than submit to your authority. Her voice grew gentle. This is not about humans conquering the galaxy. This is about all species working together as equals. Number. One needs permission to explore the universe. No one needs approval to build better ships or discover new technologies. And no one should have to wait centuries for the right to reach for the stars. The battle of Nexus Prime ended not with explosions and destruction, but with thousands of ships from dozens of species joining together in a new alliance. Ancient Morthul's weapons fell silent as his own people refused to operate them. High Counselor Velthara surprised everyone by requesting permission to come aboard Admiral Chan's flagship. I want to discuss terms, she said when she arrived. Not surrender terms, but partnership terms. Chan looked at the elegant alien leader who had once represented humanity's enemies. What kind of partnership? She asked. The kind Dr. Vasquez described, Velthara replied. A galaxy where species work together instead of some ruling over others, where technology is shared instead of hoarded, where young civilizations are helped to grow instead of kept dependent. Elena, who was present for the meeting, spoke carefully. What? About the ancient ethereals? What about those who still believe in the old system? Velthara was quiet for a moment. They will have to adapt or be left behind, she said finally. The galaxy has changed. Your species changed it. There is no going back to the way things were. Over the following months, the transformation of galactic civilization